And what's happening, guys? Welcome along to another episode of 420 News. Hope you're all well out there, guys. See many of your comments coming in there already, guys. Nice one for that. Sorry about being a little bit late there as well, guys. This fucking weather is just really driving me bad. I had to go down and get some more water. And I suppose while I'm at it, I give a shout out there to the boys at the turn it the right way. Nice little mug there that the lads at the Dublin Cannabis Club above there in Dublin hooked me up with on at Saturday's protest. 2 weeks ago now, is it? At the 10th of July's protest. But what's happening, guys? We'll give a shout out to everybody in the audience. We got Skatanis, Andreas, Stoner Dan. What's happening, Stoner Dan? Queer hot, baked in every sense of the word, he says. You've definitely got that gene there where you're going to burn easier as well, Stoner Dan. I tend to burn a little bit harder. It's harder for me to burn. DB Woodcraft is out there as well. What's happening, DB? Listening while driving. Nice one for that. I hope you're having a nice, pleasant journey. John Finnegan's out there as well. Skatanist, Hype, Sean Michael Duggan, what's happening? Podge, DB Woodcraft again, Pods 4420. What's happening, Greenbeard? Hope you're well. Must get in chat with yourself, GB, actually, at some stage. See what the crack is there with the raffle and the prizes and stuff like. So we'll be in touch. Podge is out there as well. What's going down, Podge? Connor S. Sinkus Woo. What's going on, Sinkus Woo? I fap to this. Yes. Do I want me to give a few flexes? You want to see some skin? Give you something to fap to. Casadas Dragas Savage mug. It is indeed, actually. It's quite a nice mug, and I'm kind of happy that they've actually not included the colour green in it, because like having a green screen and a green mug, shout out to the boys in High and Homegrown, it's a bit problematic. The mug goes see-through when you're trying to use it in front of a green screen. So the boys got the colour style right anyway, like black and gold, and they got some nice harps in there as well. Like, I don't know if you can see the harps. Some nice little harps there as well in the gold. So yeah, again, the boys got that mug worked off well for you there anyway. Nice plug for the Dublin Cannabis Club crew. Yeah, they gave me some jellies as well. At least the lads from Swords Buds did. Legend, that guy was as well. Gave me a nice little vape pen as well. One of the Integrity Farms one. I actually have it just beside me. Cool little yoki. And again, look, you see what I mean about green screens and how this thing has just like fucking disappeared. Bit problematic when you want to show off your branding. But Integrity Farms, a nice job. There's the vape cart inside there as well. Must check that out some stage. But right, we'll get cracking, so guys, with the news. Haven't got a lot for you actually today, guys. I was rather busy there this morning working on some college work and stuff, just catching up on things I've fallen behind on. So I've just briefly gone through kind of half the preparation I normally do, but I still got a couple of pieces there for you, and the first story up is my own one. So I don't know if some of you might have caught the stream. I done a live stream last night over on the Facebook. But over on the Facebook, I had a live stream after I had planted some cannabis plants in the garden of Cork City Hall. And the headline here is coming from Cork Bio, where a lovely journalist who I had the pleasure of meeting, Emer Macaulay, wrote up a lovely article. She said that 6 more cannabis plants have been dug into beds in one very prominent Cork City location after Gardai uprooted previous batches elsewhere in the city. She went on to say that the distinctive stalks were spotted early this morning in the flower beds in Cork City Hall as a local cannabis activist continued his guerrilla gardening campaign. They were sticking up amongst the decorative flowers in the carefully manicured beds outside of the main entrance. And it says Martin Condon, an activist who's previously posted a video of him planting cannabis at Pope's Quay, says that with a background in herbal science, he has always been an avid gardener. He considers this campaign to be a peaceful way of protesting against the prohibition of cannabis and the impact it has on people who need it to improve their quality of life. She says, Martin says that he was inspired to dig in this latest batch of cannabis in front of City Hall after the good news that the medical treatment for Vera Toomey has that she has to import from the Netherlands will now be paid for by the government up front at source. She quotes me here then saying, "This is wonderful for Vera and I'm very happy to see this progress, but now we need to push ahead for all the people who won't be covered by this change in law and who are continuing to suffer more than they have had to." Martin points to the case of Ryan Fowler, who takes cannabis treatments due to chronic pain caused by a tumour. Ryan and his mum Pamela will still have to pay €1,000 each month because of chronic pain is not covered by the government in their plan for the usage of medical cannabis in Ireland. The government are tiptoeing around this issue. Instead of bringing in systemic change, we need cannabis. Cannabis should not be prohibited, but regulated as alcohol is and used for research and treatment to help people who are suffering. The protester says he hopes that those who are using cannabis covertly to deal with chronic pain will take some comfort in his protest. And she quotes me here again finally in saying that at the end of the day, where is the harm in having a plant in a flower bed amongst other plants? It's about offering solidarity to the people. So get over there, guys. Check that article out. It's over on Cork Bio. Pop it up on screen there for you to see it. So Guerilla Gardener plants cannabis plants in front of Cork City Hall. And they actually have a little video here as well that they went and took themselves this morning. This isn't from my live stream at all. So the plants were still there at least this afternoon or this morning when this video was recorded. But it's a very well written article. I'm delighted that Emer took the time out of her day to cover this story and continue with this. But in order to maintain the media's attention, guys, get over there, share this article far and wide. The Cork Bio, I'd imagine, they make their money through these little ads and stuff that you see popping up around the screen, and I might have ad blocker on, what am I saying? But get over there, share it. If we share the hell out of these articles when it's when they take the time to cover them, they'll be more interested in covering more because they'll be money makers for them, essentially. So get over, share it, and just start plugging it around. I think it's ever more important as well that we continue this campaign because we shouldn't, while there's time for while there's cause for celebration right now, we shouldn't get complacent. Let's not fall back. Let's keep the pressure on them. Now more than ever is it needed, actually, when you really think about it. We have them now. Change has happened. If we keep the pressure on, we can get a lot more change to happen, so I look forward to seeing more people get involved in these campaigns. We drive on, guys, because over in Galway there was a man arrested after a seizure of 76,000 worth of suspected cannabis in Galway. This is the cannabis pictured here alongside of a bit of cash as well. So this was, how much was caught there? There was 3.5 kilos, just over 3.5 kilos of cannabis seized, along with €7,000 in cash following the search of the house in Galway. This happened at 10:30 on Monday night. And the Gardai attached to the Galway Divisional Drugs Unit conducted a search of a house in the Newcastle area of Galway City under the old Operation Tara, the old bitch herself. During the course of the search, suspected cannabis herb with €76,000 pending analysis and €7,150 in cash was seized. A man in his 40s was arrested at the scene and is currently being detained under Section 2 of the Criminal Drugs Trafficking Act. This seizure forms part of Operation Tara, and then they go on to say an enhanced national anti-drug strategy which was launched by Garda Commissioner Drew Harris on July 2nd, 2021. The focus of Operation Tara is to disrupt, dismantle and prosecute drug trafficking networks at all levels, international, national, local, involved in the importation, distribution, cultivation, production, local sale and supply of controlled drugs. Well, really, if he wanted to say it in short, Operation Tara is an operation to target the most vulnerable people in our community. Because that's exactly what it's doing. Even this next operation where they caught a guy with €80,000 worth of cannabis. This guy was coming over from England and he is a father of 7. A man by the name of Malik Bouber. He's 46 years of age and he travelled by ferry into Ireland in a van that was found to have packages of cannabis hidden inside in a compartment in the floor behind the driver's seat. Boubert of Belmont Road in Liverpool, England, pleaded guilty at the Dublin Circuit Criminal Court to importation of cannabis at Dublin Port on October 20th, 2020. He has 51 previous convictions in England, including convictions for possession of drugs with intent to supply. And the sergeant prosecuting said that on the date in question, customs officers were in possession of confidential information regarding a particular van travelling by ferry from the UK. Sergeant Whelan said the van, which was being driven by Boubert, was stopped and searched. Packages containing the cannabis were found, and the van hidden inside in the compartment in the floor behind the driver's seat. And the total value of the drugs seized were €79,648. What happened there? Like, some of the boys making joints, the cops making joints there before they're handing it in, like taking a few grams here and there for themselves. And in the interview with the Gardai following his arrest, Boubert said he was asked to bring the drugs into the country and he was to be paid €2,600. And it says there he was to be paid €2,600. So I'd imagine because he got caught, he didn't get that money. He said the van did not belong to him and that he picked it up and that others had paid for the ferry. Boubert told Gardai he was relying on people to tell him what to do after he arrived in Ireland. 2 mobile phones found in his possession were examined by Gardai and discovered he had been receiving communications from certain individuals in Ireland. And Sergeant Whelan agreed with the Sarah Jane O'Callaghan defending the client, said that her client came across as a nice fellow and that the sergeant had formed the opinion Boubert could be easily led, and he agreed. The accused said he had a drug addiction for the last 20 years. So I don't know, is it me, alright? I've been watching Narcos lately, like, and maybe that's kind of influencing my thought in this. But again, you have this guy here, an easily led individual, a nice fellow, being taken advantage of by a bunch of gangsters, because what I see here is the potential for, look, and the cops have a tip-off, okay? So if you're a drug gang, an organised drugs gang, and you want to bring drugs into the country and you want to be sure that they get through, well, what do? Well, maybe you might send in an old decoy and you tip the cops off to the decoy, but the decoy doesn't even know that he's a decoy. The decoy thinks he's actually working for the criminals, doing a job for the boys. Like, I'm one of the boys and they're going to look after me and I'm going to get €2,600 to look after my fucking 8 kids or 7 kids. So is this a likely scenario here where the organised crime gangs are like 1 or 2 steps ahead of the cops and that? Like, the cops don't even have to be involved in this, like except for the fact that they're just fucking working for the organised crime gangs by not properly doing their job, I suppose, essentially, because they get tipped off. All right, there's the van we're looking for. They don't search anything else then as a result. How many other vans get through? How many other people get through with a lot more product on board? So they seized 80,000 off of this van, but was there like 4 or 5 other vans, each of them with $1 million each or something going through? And poor Boubert, he has to go to prison here now in Ireland for, he got off the judge, he was sentenced to 6 years imprisonment, but the judge suspended the final 3 years on this of the sentence on strict conditions, including that he leave the country immediately upon his release and not return for 10 years. So here we have a man who's been described as a nice fellow, a father of 7, and now he's been denied entry back into our country once he gets out of prison for 10 years, all because he got caught with a little bit of cannabis. Like, he has 7 kids. What if his kids want to come on a holiday to Ireland and they want to bring their dad? Like, he won't be able to go with them? Is that what they're saying here, for at least 10 years? It's just absurd, like, that this is the type of punishment we would hand down to somebody, ban them from our country for 10 years because they brought in cannabis that brings a lot of pleasure to people. Again, let's not forget how out of touch the government are with the people currently. They're way out of kilter. Like, they do not represent the views of the people currently. The prohibition of drugs is not in the benefit of our communities, and it's not in the interest of our society. So again, this government are way out of whack, and these sentences being handed down by judges are ridiculous, considering, cannabis could be legalised here come, I don't know, let's say Gino Kenny's bill for some fucking freak reason actually goes through and gets accepted by the Irish government, and we legalise and regulate cannabis. Imagine, like, in 6 to 12 months time, we could have a legal and regulated industry here in Ireland, but our buddy Boubert and many others are still locked up in prison for the very same herb that were setting up businesses, creating jobs and a lot of tax revenue around. There's a lot to change, and I believe there is change coming, but this is where I'm most interested in, is once this change happens, what happens to Boo Bear? Like, he should be getting an immediate release. If anything, he should be probably getting a bit of an apology in a sense. Like, the government will never apologise to this guy. The fact that he get released would be a good thing, I suppose, and that's all he would probably get. Like, but people like that deserve so much more. This war on drugs has victimized some very good people. Like the solicitor has to describe him as a nice fellow, because if you get caught with drugs, well, you must be a bad fellow, because that's what's implied. Like, why else would you need to defend yourself and say, look, I'm a good person, But like, is Derek assuming, well, you're here in court, you're a criminal, you must be a bad person. It's just wrong. It's a backwards way of thinking, and I really do look forward to the day when this change comes, and I really look forward to seeing people like Boo Bear getting out of prison and not being treated like criminals any longer. It's ridiculous. Like, I reckon he's just been taken advantage of by some organised crime gang here in this instance, and was probably a decoy. Bhagwan's son, this is important to find out, the government, what they will manage to mess up, because they will and won't be good for the people. It never is only the rich will get sorted. And Cassidus Drugos adding in there as well, expungements must be included in any legislation, 100%. Like, if you have a legislation without expungements, then sadly you have not won anything at all, really, like, because there's so many people there unfairly in prison, like, and they're good people, Imagine if we people still in prison for being gay or something. Like, let's say we had some crazy, like, sods of judges before, you know what I mean? And they locked people up for being gay. Imagine if they were still in prison. Like, that wouldn't sit right. Like, of course you would be expunging these people and taking away any criminal convictions given. Ridiculous, like. And we drive on because in another headline from Ireland again, a decision to overturn permission for injection centres in Dublin will cost lives. And that's a headline that was put up there on the Dublin... which one was it, actually? I just want to give a plug there to the article that this was in. No, I'm after closing it. But anyhow, here it is, Independent. It was in the Independent that he... but it says the latest delay for plans for a permanent injection facility in Dublin city centre will cost lives, it has been claimed. And this is after the High Court last week set aside permission granted by An Bord Pleanála for provision of a medically supervised injection centre at the Riverbank building on Merchants Quay after a judicial review proceedings taken by a local school. And in a statement, Merchants Quay Ireland said it would be considering the judgment with its legal team. We remain committed to the opening of a medically supervised injection facility as part of a health-led approach to addiction. There is a clear need for this facility. These services save lives. And local Green Party representatives insisted that a medically supervised facility would offer a safe, secure space for people injecting heroin, and warned that the court decision to overturn approval would cost lives. And Dublin South Central TD Patrick Costello said centres were proven to reduce overdoses and can help stop the spread of needle-related diseases. We are awaiting details in the court judgment, but the urgent need for the centre has not gone away. He said, whatever issues there are with this case, we need to work them out and ensure that this centre is operating as soon as possible. So again, and it's given a number of other quotes there from many other TDs, councillors and stuff who are all in support of this. And it is an essential service that's vitally needed above there. I actually took it upon myself to do a little poll here in Cork after an image was uploaded to the Ballyvalan notice board. I'm just going to pop the image up on screen here for you, but this is the image that was put up there on Ballyvalan notice board. After it says, people be vigilant and know where your kids are tonight. This is what is currently in Boyne Crescent. Needles are used and have blood in them, and I've already turned away 2 groups of young people. Urgent isn't the word. Stay safe out there. It's getting more insane by the day. Which it is. The problem around problematic drug use in our society is getting more and more insane by the day. I think that's the right word to use, because if you look at the definition of insanity from Einstein, it's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same results. So this was posted up there on the 17th of July. So I went ahead and I put up a poll. over on the same page, and I asked after the post there the other day where needles were found in the Boyne Crescent area. I wonder how many people feel about supervised injection centres for people who inject drugs. Would people here prefer it remains on the streets and hope our Gardai can catch these people, or do people agree with providing a supervised injection centre for people who use drugs? 53 people voted in the poll, 52 of them were for providing a supervised injection centre, and one of them only was against. So that's incredible. Like, so you could say over 98%, almost a 99% result there in favour of introducing supervised injection centres in Cork. We had representatives from the Cork Local Drug and Alcohol Task Force, Colette Kelleher, I believe her name was, also coming out calling for the introduction of a centre here in Cork, because there's needles everywhere. That's not the definition of insanity. What is it? So was that not the thing that Albert Einstein said? No, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same results. But that's how I know it anyway. But anyway, like, you know, this really goes to show like how out of touch our government are with these kind of centres. While look, we passed legislation back in 2016. They're so slow to do it, much like they have been with the medical cannabis access too. You know, so and then we have companies out there as well in Dublin who have no shame in coming out and supporting this decision, which is going to cost lives. This is the Temple Bar Company, and the Temple Bar Company says here that they fully support the decision by the High Courts today to reject planning for a drug injection centre on Merchants Quay. The Temple Bar Company has fought against the establishment of a drug injection centre at this particular location for the past 5 years. So these guys are like against harm reduction measures. These guys would prefer that the drug injection stays on the street. These guys would prefer that people inject their drugs in unsafe environments, unclean environments, you know, and not have access to aftercare either. That's what would be provided by the Merchants Quay Centre there if they had these supervised drug injection centres there. It wouldn't be just come in, shoot up, and off you go again. Like, no, it would be come in, how are you today? Look, would you like something, you know, a cup of tea or something like that? Like, and you know, oh, we noticed you're like, don't inject there into that part. No, you inject into this part. If you're going to inject, it'll be a lot safer. You know, things like that we could be doing for them. But the Temple Bar Company, in fairness, rightly so, they got completely lambasted. Like, this completely went back against them. Every single comment on their posts was kind of an attack at them. I'll pop it up on screen there now for you, Temple Bar Company's comments and stuff like that. But they really did. They got an awful scalding for what they put up there. In fairness, like, Ian Kerrigan, you were a disgrace. Peter Reynolds coming out against them. Flake of the universe, what's happening? Discussing that you proudly proclaimed that having fought the introduction of harm reduction facilities, seen addicts inject in broad daylight in doorways around Fleet Street just last week. Sickening to think you stand proud while peddling the most dangerous of drugs yourself. And here I fixed the title for you. Surprised I had to change only one word to make my point. And this was from the Flake of the Universe correcting it here. Nice job as well, in fairness. Giving addicts a city centre haven to booze up won't work. And yeah, shame on you, Dr. Orla Campbell, Pierce Richmond as well. You know, nobody supporting them here. Like, completely went against what they. I don't know what they were hoping to achieve. Like, this age-old kind of thing, like hard on drugs. Like, I think that's what they were trying to do. Like, look at us, we're being hard on drugs. Like, you know, we're great, aren't we? Much like the old buddy Sod, he loves to be hard on the drug users as well. But it's ridiculous, you know. When you think of this and what's going on here, like, this is born out of hate. I can't see this being anything other than being born out of hate. This expression, this passion that this Temple Bar Company have had, that they fought for 5 years against the introduction of harm reduction measures, that's born out of hate. And that brings me to my next headline, which is a Garda hate crime line has been launched. But so I think that's rather maybe ironic in a sense that, like, I describe the Gardaí as being fucking terrorists in my own eyes. But this is that what they call it? The Garda an online hate and crime reporting facility is what they're calling it. I don't know. I prefer the hate crime line. But this was I came across this over on Facebook there earlier today, and I was very tempted to actually ring them when I seen it pop up on my page, because I was kind of like, I feel like that what I experienced at the hands of the judges was rather hateful, you know, speaking to me in rather derogatory terms as a drug user, as a cannabis consumer. I felt that was very much born out of hate. This is the thing they have
we are
up here about it.
launching our online reporting facility to report hate crime. This is part of our commitment under our 2019 Diversity and Integration Strategy, which had 5 strategic principles. Diversity
and integration. Yeah. Do we fit somewhere in there as that, as cannabis consumers, as people who use drugs? You know, alcohol consumers certainly have the respect of the Gardai, but will we cannabis consumers and other drug users be afforded the same respect? And you know, I think that should be included in there, but obviously it's not.
Number 1 was protecting our communities. 2 is our data. 3, our people. 4, working in partnership. And 5, communication. Today, it means protecting the safety, the well-being and the rights of all.
What about my rights? When you stop and search me at the side of the road, like I've waived my rights because I look suspicious to your members of Gardai. In fairness, like, you know, again, like I do not feel included here. Like this is rather hateful towards me, and you know, I don't feel accepted in our community currently.
But particularly minority and marginalised communities and vulnerable individuals.
Like the vulnerable individuals you target under Operation Tara, is it? You know, any care, compassion for those people? Do you know, the young teenager who's growing up in an area where the first job that's going to be afforded to him is going to be a job with a drug dealer, you know?
And that's why we are launching online reporting of hate crime.
The Garda National Diversity and Integration Unit, in conjunction with its Garda partners, designed and developed a new non-emergency online hate crime reporting mechanism, which will be accessed through garda.ie. Hate crime can be reported to An Garda Síochána in a safe and secure way, and will allow for an appropriate response and support to be provided.
So if I ring them and put in a complaint against Sean O'Donovan, if he speaks in a derogatory way to me, will they actually entertain it? I would think not. But like, we won't waste any more time on this video. We go over to kind of like what it says here over in their website. What is a hate crime? And it's any criminal offence which is perceived by the victim. So like, I think this is very important, this first part of it. Like, you know, whatever about the rest of it, any criminal offence which is perceived by the victim or any other person in whole or part to be motivated by hostility, you know, hate towards drug users, you know, or prejudice based on actual or perceived age, disability, race, colour, nationality, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, or gender. So again, you know, like your use of drugs isn't included under this inclusion. But certainly, like, you know, what if I take up fucking religion or Rastafarian? Like, what if I want to be Rasta in the morning and, you know, I want to consume cannabis as part of my religious practices? You know, I'd like to give it a try, maybe. Am I going to be afforded the opportunity to participate in that religion? What if I wanted to join the religion of Santo Daime, the Santo Daime religion, the guys who consume DMT as part of their religious ceremonies? Will I be afforded the same acceptance here? You know, if I'm brought up before Judge Sean O'Donovan with my little bit of DMT, and he says, oh yeah, I'm going to lock you up for 10 years because I hate drug users, like, will I be able to fucking put in a complaint against him? No, because he's just doing his job, isn't he? It's his job to fucking enforce these hate, this oppression upon our community, you know? Hate incidents, then non-crimes, and then it goes on to say, any non-crime incident which is perceived by any person in whole or part to be blah, blah, blah. A person, community or institution may be a victim of a hate crime by virtue of perceived or actual association with a particular group or background. So again, like I think there's room for us to squeeze in there. Like, you know what I mean? I would love to see some people be putting in some complaints as to the hate that they've experienced at the hands of the guards. Motivation then as well, like, is presumed by a demonstration or expression of hostility or prejudice. Again, like, you don't have to look too far to find some hate or hostility there from some of these judges in their court cases, the transcripts that come afterwards, you know. And religion includes non-believers. So as a non-believer of God, you know, I'm a non-believer, let's say, like, but I do believe in cannabis, you know, and I believe that's my religion. Yeah, cannabis is my God, and I pray to it every day. Respect my religion and respect my authority. You know, so I just wonder really what the story is here. I think it's just a joke, like. All PR really, like, to be seen as doing something good when in reality, like, they're not. And they're really not. Like, you look at the war on drugs, has it worked? No, it's not. Look at these headlines that I've lined up here for this. Like, so this prohibition of cannabis, this prohibition of drugs, which enables this fucking hate upon our community of people who use drugs. You know what I mean? Hate. That's rather fucking hurtful. We don't like it. The prohibition of drugs, it's failed, and these are headlines which proves it. This proves prohibition of drugs has failed. The number of women seeking treatment for crack cocaine is up over 80% since 2018. So it doesn't stop there, guys. The next one, 5-fold rise in crack cocaine cases since 2014. And then we go on. Undercover report exposes brazen drug dealing in front of school children in Ballymun. And guys, these reports are not all spread apart. This is July 20th. The one before it, July 20th. The one before that, July 21st. After that, we've another July 20th here. Dealers texting addicts around the clock offering drugs as crack cocaine takes hold in Dublin. So we've lost control, guys. We've well and truly lost control. The organised crime gangs are effectively controlling these drugs, and they're getting them to the people who want to use them. And we're failing those people. The government are failing those people. Again, as consumers of anything in society, you're protected by the government. You know, they have consumer laws there to protect consumers. Drug users are excluded from that, at least the illegal drug users. We need to end this once and for all and bring all of the drug users in under that umbrella of protection behind the quality assurance and all of the regulations that are put in place, you know, to protect consumers. So, you know, when you think about it, the prohibition of drugs, it's well and truly failed. We should not afford it the right now to take away our rights any longer. And we need to stand up and call for change. You know, while I'll go out and I'll engage in my guerrilla planting and stuff like that, I think very soon I'm going to go out there into the city and I'm going to start getting some heroin, and I'm going to start going to the guard stations with it and handing myself in with that. I think I really do think there's a need for an escalation on this. We've truly lost control here. I've got 2 daughters, third child on the way. I do not want them to be walking around the streets where these organised crime gangs are so fucking powerful, where there's crack cocaine being sold by 12 and 13-year-olds around on Instagram and Snapchat and all of these things. Like, and the air, like, the kids out there are selling everything and anything now because for them, a lot of them, there's no more jobs there. As I said many times here on this show before, there's no jobs as there was before for young people. You can't go down to the petrol station anymore and work as a young fella pumping the petrol into people's cars. You can't go to door anymore, cutting grass and stuff, or washing cars, because there's now loads of businesses around the place doing these things, and it's very hard for young people to kind of make a few extra pound. For a lot of people in the disadvantaged areas, then drug dealing is probably the gateway there for them. So that's it for today's 420 news, guys. Nice one, everybody, for tuning in. Pop back to your comments there, and yeah, we'll see. Crap, I forgot to bring over my phone for the call-ins. We get the phone set up there in a couple of secs, guys. But we see what's happening out there in the comments section anyway. Dave Gorman, definition of insanity: severely disordered state of mind usually occurring as a specific disorder. Okay, that probably is the definition of insanity, isn't it? But what does the other fun one? You know what I mean? The Albert Einstein one. Come on, like, come on, Dave. Casada Stragas. The truth is, Cork Drugs Task Force want to open a drug consumption room for heroin and other drugs, but the government have only legislated for a pilot to begin in Dublin first. Which again, you know, there's no need for that at all. This tiptoeing around this issue. Oh, we have to be very, you know, careful. What do you mean careful? There's people who inject drugs in Dublin, Cork, Galway, Limerick, you know. Feck's sake, they're up in the back ass of Mayo and Donegal too, I'd imagine. We need these centres in city centres and stuff like that, where users can get access to them. This crap, this NIMBYism, not in my backyard, like that's got to end. It's absolutely ridiculous, especially when you hear the views and concerns then being expressed, and they're not really views or concerns. It's actually just hatred towards a particular group of people, because for however long these people have been seen as problematic in society, and it was okay to hate on them, you know, to call them junkies, you know, to use all these derogatory terms and nasty names towards them. You know, again, go back to hate crimes, you know. Again, if you're up there in Dublin's streets and you're injecting your heroin because there's no supervised injection centre, and a guy walks past and he goes, "You're a filthy fucking junkie, get off the streets." Like, can you then go and report that individual to the guards? Do you know, can you? I don't think you can. I don't think you would be entertained. And again, that's unfair. That's discrimination in our society. Why is it only hate if it's because of your gender or because of your religion or your race or whatever, you know? Yeah, discrimination is discrimination. If you feel discriminated against, then you probably have been discriminated against and hated on, you know? And it's just ridiculous the way we treat people like that who use drugs in our society. Isn't insanity a very ableist word by now? Mustawa is alright, Matthew. Good to see you over here. And Ken Green, competitor of the alcohol industry, certainly is. Right, I'm going to get the SIM card into my phone here now, and I'll open up the phone lines for some calls if people want to call in. Give me a couple of seconds. There we go. Fucking hard to get it out of its protective case. Darn it, gotta get an airing. 1 second, guys. Apologies, guys. Please bear with me. Who else is out there? Shawn Michael saying expecting a different result. And Skitanis is replying there to Casa de Strugus, and 4 years later, not even that exists, courtesy of the Shed Temple Bar Company, which itself operates a dozen drug dispensaries. Exactly, like, you know, the irony of it, like, you know, they're against the introduction of harm reduction facilities for drugs when they're drug sellers themselves, and the drug that they sell, well, we're all very well aware of the harms that drug does in our society, you know, and a lot of bad ones too. Like, I've seen that myself, kind of growing up. Seen drink being abused by family members and causing problems and stuff like that. Very well can. I'm sorry, guys, almost there now. Podge, I was never so shocked when I got off the bus Saturday morning and a small group of lads shooting up on the main street in Dublin. Yeah, it's crazy to think how out in the open it is these days, isn't it? Like, it's just everywhere. Like, and these people can't really help it either. Like, a lot of them are sick. That's their problem. Like, you know, we're basically witnessing sick people, you know, injecting their medicine on the streets. And for a lot of them, they're not getting the appropriate therapies to go along with that medicine. Yes, there we go. Is that in? Ah, you bastard. Dual SIM card phone here, and it's a bastard to get it back in. There we go. Excellent. Powering on up there now, guys. I'll throw the number up on screen. Boom, there we go. Call on in. Also, we'll throw this image up on screen too, guys. Don't forget Saturday, 7th of August, the Mardyke, down by the Mardyke Skate Park for the picnic in the park for cannabis reform. Going to be a great day out. We got some music lined up. We're going to have some speakers down there as well. And possibly going to have some yoga as well. And don't forget, guys, we have a kick-ass raffle with some great prizes coming in. DB Woodcraft out there after donating an amazing cannabis leaf hand-carved with a chainsaw. Made here in Ireland from, I don't know what type of wood it was, but good wood anyway. So that's an amazing prize. I believe GB as well. I'm going to sort out with them later on, see what the crack is there. But I believe GB and the High and Homegrown crew are getting behind us there with an old prize. We have R420 Supplies as well, said that they'll sort us out with a prize there, a nice little bong. And Funky Skunk as well have said they get behind us. Irish Hemp Harvest said they'll support us as well. So the prizes are lining up, and all of the funds that will be raised on the day, guys, will go to the Cork City Missing Person Search and Recovery Group. It's it's a charity actually here in Cork. Three, 2, 3, 9. Boom. I think I just said my PIN for my second SIM card online, but oops. Yeah, sorry, what was I saying there? I just got distracted by turning on that phone there to receive your calls. Better turn on Bluetooth there now as well. So yeah, guys, the phone is powered up there anyway. We're connected to the Bluetooth and ready to accept your calls. Again, just be mindful that my voice will probably be a bit hard to hear on your side of the phone, so apologies for that if that is the case. Hate and ignorance, Mark Andrew saying here, definitely Mark, that's how I perceive it anyway as well. And other comments, Chilbert, sounds very interesting, Cassidus Dragas, and yes, Cassidus Dragas saying back to Skatanis there, exactly, the scenes from Temple Bar any minute of the morning, day or night, speaks for itself, not much harm reduction happening there. True that, man, true that. Chilbert saying Martin is a top bloke leading the line. Nice one, Chilbert. Thanks very much for that. John Finnegan, like, share, subscribe, follow, tag your buddies, spread the word, and grow the audience. Viva La Martin's world. Yes, nice one, John. Thanks very much for the support there, bud. Appreciate it. Bogwan's son, that. King Green, always a hate crime for the cannabis consumers by government. Where's our equal rights to life when to live the life we choose? Exactly. We need to report every hate crime committed by the Gardai, not that these reports would go anywhere. Need to get Mr. Robot on the case. Give them a call live on the show, sure. Yeah, I should actually. I was considering doing it, alright, and we'll see what happens. I'll do a recorded piece there maybe with him and see what happens. Podge says, sure, look at the 3,000 missed cases they avoided to deal with. Yeah, that's very true as well. You know, the cops left fucking over 3,000 domestic violence calls go unanswered. Shaming them, like. Not followed up on, cancelled, I think is what happened. Republic of Dave, everyone make sure to report the RT video on Ballymun for promoting terrorism. Do a hotbox live to call them. I know, like, I looked into it there a while ago, so I'll pop it up on screen there for you to see. But the Garda diversity officers, the guys you actually have to call. Oh yeah, there we go. So this is the numbers you actually have to call. So if you look at Cork, where's Cork here now? So Watercourse Road, I know this number. That's actually just the number to Watercourse Road. And Jacqueline White. So like the chances of getting Jacqueline White at her desk when you ring Watercourse Road never even answer the phone. So then you go up to Mayfield. Mayfield has 2 diversity officers, again 2 ladies, Eileen Courtney and Alison O'Flynn. And again, this is just 2 same numbers there. Look, if you look at them, look, 558510. That's the Mayfield Garda station's number. You're just going to get the reception, then you have to put in a message. You'll have to look for that guard, and then you'll get a call back. So I will do it. I'll follow up, but I'll put in a little complaint there maybe against our buddy Sad and see what happens. Yeah, the Casa de Stroga saying they will prosecute anyone who commits a hate crime with the exception of themselves. Yeah, spot on, but I couldn't agree with you more there as well. I think they're just going to probably laugh at me or hang up the phone as soon as I ring them in. Do you know, I'll ring them in and pretend to be a person who was just injecting heroin on the street, and I just got fucking riddled with hate. You know, a guy just came over and just started pointing at my face and calling me a junkie. He just like junkie, 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 junkie. You know, I'll just be very dramatic about it or something, and I'll see what happens. Like, I'll see how they entertain it. It could be a funny one. Let's see. Hopefully the guards aren't watching this. Otherwise, they've gotten the heads up. Podge 85 prohibition is going well, and the people are getting lost from the help they need. Yeah, that's very true, Podge. And Pods 4420 saying the time for change is now. It is 100%. Podge adding in that we the people need to start getting our voices heard loud and proud, because we are not criminals, and we are not criminals. We are not, guys. We're just drug users. Like, no, that's it. An alcohol user is a drug user. A caffeine drinker or coffee drinker is a drug user. We are drug users, and we deserve to be treated equally like other drug users are, and we deserve to have safe and effective access to our drug of choice and not have to line the pockets of organised crime gangs who engage in some other serious crimes such as human trafficking in the pursuit of our drug of choice, you know. We shouldn't be doing that at all. And Keith O'Halloran and Martin, great job again. Catch up soon. Nice one, Keith. Hope all is well out there, bud. John Finnegan says, and no bong rip today, Martin Condon. Are you sick, buddy? I'm not actually. I just, yeah, it's the fucking heat, to be honest. We'll pack one up, John. We'll pack one up. You're smoking alone out there, John. Oh, there we go. Getting one of my 5 daily greens into me to say, block. Camera won't focus. So blaze it on up, guys. Schleinte, John. Schleinte. Mark Andrew Morgan, but if you start handing in heroin, I think you'll just be playing into their hands and we lose you. Yeah, it'll be interesting if I'm doing it in a protest though, and there's a message attached to it, you know, maybe document it, put it out there. You need to capture the public's attention in this, I suppose. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm thinking about it, I'm contemplating it. We have to keep the pressure on and keep pushing for change. And, you know, I think decriminalise all drug users and provide safe and effective access to their drug of choice is certainly what we should be calling for. As well as, you know, obviously on the picnic for cannabis reform, it's going to be cannabis. You know, that's going to be our call for today. But not long after that, guys, I will be engaging in a campaign with Casa de Strogas and a number of others where we will be doing a decriminalise the drug user education tour across Ireland. So I'll have more details to drop on that soon, hopefully, as the plans kind of materialise more. Mustawa is 100% daily, like the Occupy protests, even a regular protest outside a Dáil or convention centre. Doesn't have to be very formal, just a casual, regular occurrence. Exactly, guys. Just keep the pressure on them, like constantly just keeping the pressure on. Don't let up. And Chilbert UK is saying, indigenize the herb, plant it everywhere, every year, and make it a common sight. Kill the stigma. Definitely. And Casa de Stroga saying the injection facility will one day finally open and nobody will use it because the trend is moving to smoking crack cocaine. Safe smoking rooms would have been a better provision also for cannabis. Yeah, I would agree with you. I think there was an opportunity lost in the wording of the legislation when it was passed, when they done supervised injection centres. It should have been supervised drug consumption rooms. And I think that would have made the way then for us to introduce, maybe drug consumption rooms for cannabis consumers, for we could go and safely consume our cannabis free from being targeted by the Gardai, would have made a nice opportunity for us. And Casa de Strugus saying 1 year after legalization in Las Vegas, they've legislated for social spaces as people had nowhere to consume legally. It's kind of silly, isn't it, really? They would allow for like cannabis to be sold and consumed, but not allow for its consumption. It's like, oh, it makes perfect sense if you're a prohibitionist, I suppose. Yeah, Craig Cause there as well. Nice one, Casas Drogas. John Finnegan, 32, guessed the rest of Martin Connon, pin and win a prize. John. The Republic of Dave adding in there to Chilbert Law knows I don't plan on resting until Ireland has more native cannabis than the entire Middle East combined. Go on, the Republic of Dave, but the government can't stop you from planting clones on public property. Start intellectual property rights on Irish grown cannabis and Irish hash. Speaking of hash, actually, guys, I should have included this in today's 420 news, and I only posted about it there earlier over on Twitter, I believe it was. But we lost a great one, so we did. We lost Frenchy, Cannoli, and I only had the pleasure of recently joining a group where Frenchy Cannoli was regularly posting up videos and content and stuff over on Facebook called Frenchy Cannoli's Lost Art of the Hashishin. It's a hard one to pronounce there. But sadly, Frenchy Cannoli passed away after surgery there over the weekend. A post was put up on the group page by his partner, informing the group of his passing. So just want to pass my condolences there to friends and family of Frenchy Cannoli. Certainly a legend, and as I say, hash making is an art. And he was a master of that art, and that's kind of how I see him, as that, so Frenchy Cannoli, guys, may rest in peace. Just would like to maybe give a quick minute silence there for him. Saint Frenchy Cannoli, the patron saint of the Hashashin, protector of the resin. 100% Tulala. Gone but not forgotten anyway, that's for sure. Certainly left a dent in this world before he left. I've watched days worth of his videos in the past, learning all he had to offer there about hash making and stuff like that. The guy certainly had a passion and the technique for making some really cool hash, he would age it too as well. I was reading some of the studies he took part in where they were aging hash, looking at the different effects of hash aging, looking at the different kind of temple ball techniques, the ancient techniques there from was it Nepal? I think is it? Yeah, I think it's Nepal. Nepal. Shit, where's the temple balls from? Nepalese temple ball, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, should know, shouldn't I? But a legend of a man anyway in his own right. Sad to see him go. Would love to have been able to meet this guy in person, but sadly won't be afforded. So yeah, do check out his videos, guys. He's got a lot of videos over on YouTube. Really passionate guy about hash making, full of knowledge, and his videos are just, they're educational. They really are great. And Casa de Strugus saying here, Martin's World, the washer I gave you was based on Frenchy's videos. It's the same one he uses. Yeah, and when I was using it, actually, Casas, I was using Frenchy's videos for guidance. following his different techniques that he was incorporating into his hash making, using those kind of washers, which were is it a camper van washing machine? Really good, like, in fairness, like, really great technique. Temple Ball Master, that's right. Nepal, yeah, that's it. Nepalese, yeah, Nepal, fucking temple balls. I would love to get one. Like, geez, I'd say those temple balls now that were in his cupboard at the moment, they're probably worth millions, because there'll never be temple balls to be made by Frenchy Cannoli ever again. So I hope the family, you know, they're able to do well and can, you know, yeah, you know, sell those and live off of his legacy then. Skatana saying, I hadn't known Frenchy until I watched the High and Homegrown interview they posted yesterday. He rejoins the universe. May his family overcome his loss and bless him for providing us with all this wisdom. Yeah, you know, a legend of a man, in fairness, and a great interview he gave over on the High and Homegrown as well. I've watched that one myself as well. A very good podcast, in fairness. I'm going mad now, honestly, that I didn't reach out to the guy and have a chat with him myself and even get to meet him. But yeah, what can you do? Yeah, I see a lot of people commenting there. RP, an amazing passion for him as well. A lot of you are familiar with his work too, and I'm not surprised there either. John Finnegan saying, "Oh, so much better now that Martin has medicated." It's all right. Pause for 420 saying, "Yeah, I've endlessly watched hours of mouth-watering videos of Frenchy making some of the most beautiful-looking hash you'd ever seen." It is, like, you know, it's a crime that people aren't able to explore that art themselves here more fully, and the way that Frenchy would loved for us to have been able to do. I know many people, you know, Greenbeard, I believe, actually, he's even one of them, like, and he says that he just gets rid of his trim. I don't know if that's still the case, like, but I know a few people who have no problem. They give me their trim, like, they're like, yeah, take it away, like, I don't want the evidence, like, it's too much hassle to turn it into hash or to make cakes out of it. I'm just like, yeah, thanks very much, I'm delighted with that. Get the ice and water at the ready. Big tub of butter. Do you know? But really, like, hash making, like, when I've made hash, I've only ever made it from leaves, but I would love to be able to have a good supply of cannabis there, to be making it from the buds and everything, and to be aging your hash then, like Frenchy Cannoli did. Like, there's some posts up here, like, where the lads have, like, 4-year-old hashes over on this group. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, you know, we're really missing out here on what the potential is in this plant. I don't know, can I pop that one up there, that post that I seen earlier today? The 4 different hashes, they looked incredible, like, in fairness, like. No, it's not there anyway, but anyhow, we'll drive on. Skatanist, yeah, Cassidus Drugas, currently listening through every interview and podcast on Frenchy's website. Hope his book is released on the history of hash. Nice. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of hits on the content of Frenchy Cannoli now. I couldn't believe there's people joining that group now who've never heard of the man himself, like, and yeah, a lot of people have a lot of good times ahead of themselves, but sadly, for us who've already watched all of that, well, we can only go back and watch it again. Pod 85, I think they setting up a GoFundMe page, and people donate only a few euro just to help his family. Yeah, that's good to hear. I'll have a look out for that and see if I can give it a share later. But as I say, like, you know, knowing Frenchy, he probably has an old room there with balls of hash, and I reckon they're going to be worth millions. I know I'd give my fucking arm and leg anyway for a temple ball from Frenchy Cannoli. Anybody want to trade an arm and leg for a temple ball from Frenchy Cannoli? I know I'd be glad to take it, says Podge. Hash is amazing. It certainly is. The whole plant should be reused because it can be. That's it. Like, no part should be wasted at all. Even the roots have actually got uses. The roots of the cannabis plant can be used for different kind of tinctures and tonics to help with different issues. So the plant, definitely, every part of it is to be used. Nothing should be going to waste. Irish Empire was saying, in the future you will be able to get vintage hash just like you can get vintage whiskey now. That's exactly what I was talking about the other day. Like, we have so much to look forward to We really do. Like, not only the varieties of cannabis that are going to be on offer, like, but the hashes, do you know, and aged hashes. Like, do you know, this ash now is aged in the process following Frenchy Cannoli's techniques, like, you know, and we've hopefully remastered the master's work, and you know, we so much to look forward to. Like, I'm really excited as to what the future can hold for us. I'm really optimistic, guys. I don't believe that these laws are going to remain in place for too much longer. I think all of the drug laws will have changed in 5 years, and I believe hopefully we'll have achieved some change in cannabis laws here in at least in the next 12 months. I definitely believe the decriminalisation of the drug user is achievable in a 12-month time period if the people were willing to get up and fight for it strong enough, you know, in a peaceful fight, obviously. Don't mean no violence there. We'll save the violence for the Thai boxing ring. But when we're protesting, no, it's just pipes of peace was what we're bringing. Mr. Scooby-Doo, brother, introduced me to his videos only recently. What a man. Rest in peace. Yeah, he's a legend. You've a lot of really enjoyable videos there to go through, Mr. Scooby-Doo. Days worth of content, in fairness. He put out some great stuff. Pods 4420 Frenchy had his own brand of hash going into dispensaries and Callies and the likes. Yeah, I've heard of that as well, you know, and that's what I'm wondering. Is there? I suppose there's people there that were working for Frenchy that are going to continue on that business, I suppose. So maybe, yeah, the Frenchy legacy will live on through the business, and the techniques and all of that can be passed on to other people, so we can all go and continue to do as Frenchy did, and just be completely passionate about the art of making hash. It's an art form, like, and it's truly amazing, like, especially with the cannabis plant, like, you know what I mean? You get a lemon skunk, and you get an orange kush, and a strawberry this, and whatever that, like, you know, and each one of them can have its own flavor profile. What does that translate to when you make hash out of it? Like, each one of those hashes could have a different flavor profile. Like, it's the possibilities are just endless. WRT Gunner, what's going on? Joining in late. Welcome along to the show. Hope you're well. No panic at all. You'll be able to catch it back later on anyway. Podge 85, if you're lucky to get some of Frenchy's hash, I would save that. Chilbert UK says, have smoked 2-year-old charas in India. It was super strong high, and cured homegrown bud past 1 year's 2 to 6 months is sweet spot for weed, in my opinion. Yeah, I had Chocolope. I had Chocolope years ago when I was growing, and I got 12 ounces off of 4 plants. I was delighted with it, like, inside of my little 1.2 meter square tent. It was only my second grow as well, like, getting 3 ounces per plant. I was like, yes, but this is decent. But I ended up actually curing that in the jar for about 1.5 years it was. Now, keep in mind, I was consuming it throughout the whole lot, but I was growing other strains as well, so I had other varieties there to be tipping off of, which allowed me to keep the jar of Chocolope there, and I'll never forget smoking the end of it. And I think it was just because I knew it was coming to the end of it, and you couldn't even get the strain anymore. Like, DNA Genetics discontinued selling the Chocolope strain, so you couldn't even get it anymore. And oh my god, the taste of it was just unbelievable. Like, it was so nice. Absolutely it was just delicious. But yeah, there certainly is a point of diminishing returns when it comes to curing cannabis if you do it incorrectly. Not to say that I was doing it perfectly, but I certainly kept it in a dark spot. I made sure that there was no light got into the jar, and the jar was rarely being opened then past like 6 months. Like, maybe once a month I was kind of going into it, taking out a little piece, and that was it. Beautiful stuff though, in fairness. Like, miss those days. Just having jars of weed, and it's like, what will I smoke today? Like, oh yeah, I think I'll have some of the fucking the sour haze there or something. Cassida Strugus, Frenchy has an apprentice. Yeah, I'd say he probably had a couple, maybe. Probably a few people who had even graduated through, you know, and went on and set up their own things, maybe. Keita Halloran says, we are all protesting over the wrong thing, protest against the government. And WRT Gunner saying, Daily Talk are all good, thanks. And Chilbert UK, worth saving your trim and popcorn for every time at least. I've had it, a buddy gave me his one time, And there was only a small bit of it there, so I just chucked it into the freezer straight away. It was fresh, literally only off the plant a couple of hours, and chucked it in the freezer. The next grow did the exact same thing, and the grow after that done the same thing again. And then I had 3 rows worth of trim, and I got a nice fucking return of hash off it as well. Straight from the freezer, mixed it with the ice and water, done the job, and boom. Waste not, want not. Daily talk are not bad, hiding from the sun today. Podge, I bet it tasted amazing the last few bits. Chocolate was Thai genetics. Yeah, it was. It was. Was it chocolate Thai or something like that? Was it chocolate haze maybe and a Thai stick? Was that it? It was something like that. Anyway, it was so long ago now I can't really remember. But there was something chocolate anyway in there. Chocolate chunk was it maybe? I don't know. I can't remember now. So long ago, but it definitely did have the Thai genetics in there. All right, you're spot on with that, Chilbert. There's a whole universe of quality smoke we're missing out on because of inexperienced growers / people who are only who only sell and don't care too much about making Cali quality bud. I'd imagine there's probably people in Cali as well who are only interested in selling and not really interested in quality. But I can't wait until we get some fucking top quality Cork grown cannabis available at the retail outlets near you. Chilbert, UK, come over to mine for a smoke, Dave, bro. You won't miss out. Can I come too, Chilbert? Nice one. Podge 85, Cali weed is overrated and rushed, and why not just grow your own, lads? That's it, guys. If you grow your own, you can put all the love and care into it yourself, grow your skills and get better with it over time, and the quality then, like, it's in your own control, really. And it's not at all that difficult. Like, when I started growing cannabis, I had 0 skills. I wasn't after doing my herbal science course. No, I literally went online. It was rollitup.org. But now if you want to learn, go over to percysgrowroom.com. But rollerup.org is where I went over, and I hung out, and I learned all about growing cannabis over there. My first grow, it was shit. It was terrible. Like, I got a big yield off it, but it was very airy buds because of the heat that I encountered, a lot of foxtailing. But it gave me a lot of bud. I managed to trade some of that bud with a buddy, and he gave me a big tent. And then I was off to the races. I got a big tent. I went to Amsterdam. I came back with some. I came back with the chocolate then that time, and yeah, the rest is history. The very first grow I did, guys, it was I got some plywood from T&A's down in Blackpool. I screwed the plywood together, coated the inside of it with mylar. I hung a 250 watt light inside it. I cut holes out of the plywood, made a little doorway at the front, attached computer fans. That's what I was using on this. It was a computer fan I attached to it. Really, really primitive, but it got the job done. I finished it up, and yeah, it was a happy days. I loved going into my garden every morning, like looking at my little girls. Like, they were tiny little things, and it was like, oh yes, the excitement, like, you know. It was like watching a kettle boil. Like, it felt like they weren't growing at all. You get very impatient at first, but then after that first grow, like, you know, the novelty kind of wears off, and you get a bit more used to it. And oh Jesus, the harvest I enjoyed. I miss it. The Republic of Dave, imagine a world where the worst star dog you can find in Ireland is trimmed and cured to perfection. Sounds good to be too good to be true. Podge 85 says, I'll be glad to taste some White Widow or Northern Lights. Nice. Yeah, some White Widow, actually. That would be very nice, actually. I haven't had White Widow in a while. I see you were chatting about it as well over in High and Homegrown there the other night, lads. At least you are in the comment section anyway. Cassidy Strugus, I was more of a cannabis culture guy, but Roller Up had a dedicated section for Ireland, if I remember. It did. That's where I hung out. I most frequented the Ireland kind of thread. I think it was called Irish Growers Thread. I think that's what it was actually called. And had quite a few members, very active as well. I can remember over time when using it, like, some users would just disappear. They just wouldn't come on anymore. And you're like, what happened to so-and-so? Like, he hasn't posted here in a month or two, like, and you're all wondering then, has he been raided? Did he get nabbed, like, or what? it was fucking jeez, it was crazy times, I suppose. And yeah, I remember cannabis culture, all right, but it felt a bit too marketed to me when I went over to the cannabis culture. I always landed on the store page, and I'd nothing against it. It just felt like it was more of a store than a forum. So for that reason, then I never actually got involved in the forum at first. But roller up, I suppose, it just fell into my laps when I wanted to learn. I was there. Cassidus Drugas, or Republic of Dave is saying, to be fair to the Californians, they do make beautiful hash rosin. And Cassidus Drugas is saying Spain is better. I'm going to have to get over there and try that out. International travel, excuse me, is after opening back up. So guys, let's make a plan. Let's fucking get Martin's World trip there to Spain. Get a few of us there, and we venture on over to Barcelona and do an old coffee shop crawl. Who's up for it, guys? Let's make this happen. Honestly, like, let's find some cheap flights to Spain there, or to Barcelona from either Dublin or Cork, and we do an old tour of the cannabis clubs. Do some dabs. John Finnegan says, are we going to see Martin doing the balloon thing soon? I am so tempted to do it myself. Quite possibly. We'll see, John. And WRT says, Podge, I'm smoking Northern Lights now, and I got White Widow on my flower tent. You'll be there soon, mate. Nice. Not jealous at all, WRT. Delighted to hear that you're enjoying some lovely flowers there, bud. Enjoy. Republic of Dave, very true. I've only had smoke over there once about 2 years ago, but even back then Spain was on track to be the best in Europe. Yeah, certainly is. They're miles ahead of us at the moment anyway. Mr. Scooby-Doo gets some lovely bubble hash in BC. Oh, lovely. I've only ever had my own homemade bubble hash, but fucking hell, that stuff is tasty. Ooh, especially if it's made right, like, you know. Oh my goodness, like the taste you can get from that bubble hash. Delicious. Martin's World on tour. Coming in from Estow is and Podge is saying, let's go. Calum Deegan also sounds good, Martin. Nice one. Looks like we've got a crew already. And Kitmer's joining in late there as well. Kitmer, you're just in time. We were just planning a trip there to Spain to do an old coffee shop crawl. We're going to go coffee shop to coffee shop, smoking all of Spain's best cannabis and doing all their best dabs as well. Are you up for it? Get the suntan lotion and the flip-flops ready, guys. The Irish boys are heading to Spain. So that's it, guys. I've been really enjoying the crack here with you this evening. I'm going to start loving you and leaving you. Get your comments in there in the last few seconds if you would like. Otherwise, I'll be signing off there in the next 2 minutes. But just to remind you guys, don't forget 7th of August. I hope you all have that into your calendar, and everybody's going to be down and supporting the old cause. Anything else there now I have to add in myself? No, I'm not forgetting anything else. Skitanist, I'm in, by the way, just busy right now. Good to hear, Skitanist, delighted. And Irish Hemp Harvest is up for tagging along as well. That's the job, the more the merrier, guys. Definitely, let's make this happen. Let's have a look there at at flights. Maybe we'll see what one is the cheapest. It's obviously going to be cheapest to fly from Dublin. So we might go off Dublin to Barcelona. And yeah, we'll make plans. Republic of Dave saying road trip through from Spain to the Netherlands, through France and back through Switzerland, down into India, so we can really get a good sense of where's best. Now that is a kick-ass suggestion. Spain to the Netherlands to India to Morocco. Or Morocco, Spain, Amsterdam, India. John Finnegan saying, going to have to get a passport. Oh wait, I can't travel because I am not vaccinated. Guess I will enjoy the photos. John, I'm not vaccinated either, pal. So get your passport, buddy, and let's get rocking, bud. Let's make it happen. Rent out a bus. The Canna Eurobus. Or the Euro Cannabis. Yeah, I don't know what you could call it. Mark Andrew, yeah, you're going to have to stream this adventure. Oh, without a doubt, that we'll have bits of it streamed, and if Calum's coming along as well, I'm sure we could make a nice old documentary, or maybe a mockumentary of the whole thing. Mr. Scooby-Doo, ferry over to North Spain and spin down. Can you do that now? Can you get the ferry to Spain? I know there was talks about that recently, but I hadn't seen any ferries there. Like, but yeah, that would make sense as well. Ferry over to Spain and drive down. That would be fun. You'd be able to smuggle a bit more back then. Fit more in the car. Hiding the hash in the exhaust. No, don't hide it there, actually. That's a terrible idea. Jeez, Mark, what are you thinking? Unless it's a battery-powered car, and then give it a fake exhaust. There you go. Skatana says, don't need a passport for the EU. No, I think you definitely do need a passport, all right, for the EU. I think you were able to travel between Ireland and the UK before with your driver license, but I definitely think you need your passport, all right, to travel around the EU today. Martin's Euro trip. Nice. Martin's smokecation. Nice, guys. Love all those suggestions there for names of the tour. Excellent stuff. So right, guys, it's a pity none of you called in. It would have been nice to say hi to people, but I'm going to love you and leave you now, and I will be back on Friday, guys, with some more 420 news. So until then, guys, stay blazed out there and keep her lit. Much love. Peace.